Hey everybody, and welcome to Frankie's DIY Life. If you've never been to this channel before, my channel is all about there goes my lamp. Upcycling, recycling, reusing, makeover, stuff like that. So if you've never been here, I appreciate you stopping by, and I hope that you stop by again. Hit that subscribe button, that like button if you see what you like, and we'll be on my journey of the things that I do after retirement. Frankie's DIY Life after retirement. Anyway, I got this shirt right here, and it was a man's shirt, and I have already been wearing it because I cut it down from under the arms, cut the sleeves off, and I just been wearing it as a plain shirt because, you know, everybody needs a plain shirt. Everybody needs a shirt, a white shirt. So, you know, that's my go-to. You can pop that on, jeans, shorts, it don't matter. It goes with everything. But I'm tired of wearing it like that, and I want to do something different to it. So what I got is this tablecloth right here, and it had so much pretty embroidery on it. I thought that was just beautiful. Of course, I didn't do it. I bought it at the Goodwill, and I got it for $2.99. So I got to wash it, and it feels like that rayon stuff, so I don't know how it's going to iron up. So surely it will, since it's a tablecloth, right? Anyway, I'm going to take the back of this, and I am going to cut it about 1/4 of an inch, maybe all the way around the brown part right here, and then I'm going to sew it to the back of this shirt. Now, so to incorporate this cream color into that white shirt, I have got out of my stash here, I have got these strips that I had cut at one time. They used to be like a window treatment, and I'm sure everybody's seen those before. It's just a lot of strips up and down on the curtain rod. Anyway, it was beautiful at the time. It didn't leave much light coming in my window. I used to have it at work, and then I brought it home. And anyway, I'm wanting to reuse this stuff, so I'm thinking that this will match this brown right here. And my thought process is, I'm just going to make it simple. I'm going to ruffle this up, and I'm going to put this on the sleeves. I'm going to ruffle some more up, and I am going to put it under here. And actually, I did go ahead and ruffle some up, and I ran it through the serging machine, and it'll look like right down that right there is where I had to, wherever it went, it's where I had to piece it together. There it is, right there. I pieced it together. But anyway, I'm going to put this around the sleeves at the bottom. Oh, of course, the sleeves are at the bottom. I'm going to put them right here, and I'm going to put it on the tail of my shirt. But before I do that, I am going to cut my shirt off to right about here, which will hit me probably right about there. And what I'm going to do is just make it where it just goes down to this seam on both sides. So it'll just be high in the front, low in the back, same thing. So let me get that cut off first. All right, what I got here is my ruler, and I have decided I'm just going to cut it to the bottom of that first buttonhole. So I'm just going to go ahead and whack that off right quick. And I got something on sticky on here, but it's still cut, so I'm not going to worry about it. You probably hear my husband outside cutting the grass. You know, I'm also not crazy about this collar right here either, so I'm going to cut that off, and I think I'm just going to cut it at the very top where the collar is, and then I'll figure out what to do with it later. Okay, so I've got it cut off, and I'll cut the collar off, and then I'm going to take this lace, well, it ain't lace, it's where I ruffled it up, and I'm going to start at the bottom and go all the way around and pin it, and then I'll take it to my machine and sew it. But for the here and here, I'm just going to take just a little pinch right there and make it sort of pleated. So this is what it looked like from the front. So let me get that pinned on. Actually, on second thought, I don't think I'm going to take the time and pin it on, because I'm just not. What I'm going to do is just take my ruffle right here, and I'm going to flip it up, and I'll be sewing it like this, right sides to right sides. And then when I flip it back over, you won't see all of this little serging stuff. And then I'll take a top stitch and I'll go over it when I get through along this edge right here, so it'll finish it off. So I'm going to take it to my machine. Like I said, I'm not going to pin it, just don't want to. I'm just using a little small stitch, and I'm just going to follow my little stitch line that I've already used when I made my ruffle. And I'm just going to go all the way around till I get to the other side. Okay, so I've got it sewed all the way around, and this is what I'm saying, what it looks sort of like rough edge around the back side of it. That's the part I don't like. And if you got a zigzag machine, zigzag stitch, you use that if you don't have a serging machine. And by the way, I got my serging machine fixed, but not before I bought another one, so now I got two. I should have waited a little while and read the book, then I could have fixed it. But nevertheless, it's nice to have two. That way you have one with two different color threads on it, and you have to keep changing the thread because that takes a while. But anyway, with this being up like that's the way I sewed it. And then when I turn over, this is the right side of the shirt, you see, and it looks okay right here. So what I was thinking about doing was running me a little small stitch right through here to hold that ruffle down. I might have my hands in the way. But anyway, what I'm going to do is run it through my serger machine first and do away with all these bad ones. But then again, you know, zigzag if you don't have one. So let me get to it. Okay, so there's my other one. You know, I run out of room in my little sewing machine craft area slash studio. I can say studio now because it says studio up there. But anyway, I didn't have no more room, so I had to stick it over there in front of the window, and it's sitting on a little TV tray. But hey, whatever works, right? Okay, so I've got it all the way around, and I serged it. And see that just cleans up those edges. You don't have all that other the way it looked on the back when I just top stitched it. So, but then again, zigzag. Okay, so now what I said I was going to do was run me a little top stitch over it. So I'm going to finger press these down to keep it flat, and I'm just going to run a small stitch around the edge right here. That way it'll keep my ruffle down. I don't want to look like a little duck walking around with my ruffles in the air. Okay, maybe you can see it. Now you can see my little top stitch across. All right. Okay, so we've got that on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and ruffle it up through my serging machine, and then I'm going to do the same process like I did here on the sleeves. And then we'll work on something for the collar, and then we'll get that piece I showed you with the tablecloth sewed on the back. All right, so I've got that done, and then I'm just going to measure the length of this and double it. So I'll just measure it right here, comes out to right there, and then I will just double it like this, run me a seam straight down here, and then it should fit. Okay, what I failed to tell you a while ago was make sure you leave enough for your seam allowance when you're sewing it around, so it'll make sure you have enough. It's always better to have too much than not enough when you're making like roughly stuff like that, because you can always put a pinch pleat in it and you don't even know it because it's already ruffled anyway. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this where I sewed it together. I'll need to clip my strings. And then I'm going to take this seam up and under the arm right here, right there. And I'm going to match this seam with that seam. And I'm going to sew it like this right here, right sides to right sides, and then the same process when I turn it over, it'll look like this, and I'll put a little top stitch in it. Okay, so I got my sleeves on, and I did a little top stitch on them just like I did the bottom. Now when I serged that, I just used like a hem roll, so that way I don't have to hem it, so I'm leaving it like it is. And then, you know, I also put that little top stitch, like I said, on this hem as well. So now we need to start working on the collar. Okay, I've been thinking about this piece right here. You know, I cut the collar off, but I think what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and cut the rest of it off too. And then I may just fold it under and put this little bias tape on there. Or I did run some of this through the little ruffler too, and I could put that on up there, but you know, I don't want to be it too roughly, but I still don't, I think I'm just going to cut this off. So I'll start right here up and under it, and I'll just go all the way around. Just going to cut right up and under where it's sewed on at, and I'm going to cut this all the way off, all the way around. I just run me a serge, ran it through the serger right quick, you know, to keep so it wouldn't split apart. But you can just use a straight stitch or a zigzag stitch. But I believe I have decided I'm going to just use this. So I'm going to put this bias tape on there, and then that will finish off my collar. Then we'll work on the back. Well, I thought I was going to get to finish my shirt today, but I need to go start some supper. So well, I'll pick this up tomorrow, and I'll finish it tomorrow. And so I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so I have opted to go with the bias tape around the collar. I was going to put this on there, but I just thought that's just going to be too much ruffle. So, wow. I've got it pinned on. And I'm just going to run it through the top. I'm going to run it a top stitch over the top of it. That's what they call it, a top stitch. Anyway, I'm going to do that, and then we'll work on the back. I'm sitting over there in front of that window over there with the light shining through. It's dark in my glasses, you know, because they get dark when I go outside. Anyway, I just want to show you that the top stitch right there, I did have to go real slow to make sure I'd get, you know, not run off that edge. But I just think that's going to look so much better on my collar. So I got that done. And see these flappy arms here. Pay no attention to those. Okay, so now let's work on the back. I was going to tell you how I finished off this edge right here. Well, there's a string. Anyway, I just took this right here and I just folded it down, bent it in, and then it gives a nice edge. All right, so what I did is I just cut the circle out, the part that I'm going to use, instead of having to wash the whole tablecloth. I just put this in the sink, rinsed it, and ironed it. So, and also, I'll just let you know, this is not somebody's handmade work. This is machine made, because, you know, you can usually tell if it's handmade or machine made by looking at the back. So, anyway, I'm going to position it on here, and I'm going to pin it on, and then I'm going to take it to my machine, and I'm just going to go around this little edge right through here. So, I'll be changing my thread to this color. So I put it on the back of the shirt, and I decided I'm going to cut as close as I can to this little brown edge right here, and then I'll sew it on. I just think that would be too much material on the outside. Plus, it'll make it a little smaller for the back of my shirt. Okay, I've got it all pinned on, and I'm fixing to take it to my machine. I'm going to change my thread to this color right here, and then on the under the bobbin, I'm going to have it white so you won't see it when you flip it over. Okay, I got the back of it on. I think the brown ruffles looks pretty with the brown backing of that tablecloth. I just did a zigzag stitch. I don't know if I can get close enough to show you. Just did a zigzag stitch all the way around that little edge right there. So, I think that turned out right pretty. And then there's the front. I'm pretty happy with my shirt. Now, I did leave that pocket on right there. I started to take it off, but I think I'll just leave it on. I could put a piece of trim on it, but I think all in all it's just fine after I cut that string. Okay, I went and tried it on. I like it. Listen, I could button it all the way up because it's got another button right there, but I just didn't. And I went ahead and put me a piece of trim right through there so it would blend in with the rest of the brown that's on the back and it's on the front. And I didn't take the pocket off. Number one, I'm too lazy to take it off. Number two, I have tried to take them off before, and they will, if you're not really careful, you'll cut a hole in it right through there at the top, or it leaves needle marks, and it's not all that pretty. So a lot of times I just leave them on. But anyway, I got the shirt on. There's the back. But what I want to say is, I want to thank two ladies for always been encouraging to me. It's Donna and Julia, and I've never met these ladies, never met those ladies before, but they've always given me good comments, or they always have something nice to say about the things I do, and encourage me to not give up. So I just want to thank Donna and Julia. Like I said, I've never met them, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. And I appreciate everybody that's watching. If you'd hit that subscribe button, that like button, I'd appreciate it. And until then, God bless you, and God bless your family. It's Frankie's DIY Life after retirement.